loud.
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be doing something a little different because we're going to be taking a look at my very own custom City of Steel Alligatorcon Optimus Prime. And this guy right here, this is a custom that I made a few years ago. And credit where credit is due. If I got the idea listening to a podcast. Now, if you're watching my reviews, there's a very good chance that you also listen to Transformers podcast. And if you do, one of the podcasts that I listen to is WTF at TFW. And one of the guys on that show is TJ Omega, also known as the Plastic Addict on YouTube. He is a Transformer and toy reviewer. And he's one of the guys that I mentioned on my very first video that I subscribed to. I absolutely love the guy. And being from Florida, both of us being from Florida, I get a chance to run into him at conventions about once or twice a year. He's an awesome guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him, he's super cool. And if you don't subscribe to him, go ahead and go subscribe to TJ Omega. He is awesome. But anyway, as I was saying, he's one of the hosts at the WTF at TFW podcast. And a couple of years ago, when this guy right here came out, the JB01 Justice Leader, he mentioned on that podcast that he thought it would be neat if somebody took this guy and took a G1 Skull Cruncher and made a custom Alligatorcon Optimus Prime. And that just blew my mind. I thought it was such a cool idea that I had to do it. So here it is. Here's the fruit of that. In fact, I've made two of these. This is the very first one that I made. And then I had a request or a commission to make a second one. The second one actually came out a lot better than this guy did. But, you know, of course, the second one was the one that I sold because it was a lot better quality than this guy is. This was the very first time that I did one. And it was kind of a learning experience. But I think it came out pretty good. And I really love this guy. So obviously, as I mentioned, this guy was made from a G1 Headmaster Skull Cruncher, which was released in 1987. I'm not familiar with the MSRP, what the original retail was for this guy originally, back in 1987. Here in Alligator mode, he is approximately 10 inches tall, or 10 inches long from head to tail. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the City of Steel Alligatorcon, there is an episode from Generation 1 cartoon. It was in the second season, and the episode is called City of Steel. In that episode, the Decepticons are taking down buildings in New York and rebuilding them in the image of Cybertron. So they're kind of trying to build a new Cybertron. And the Autobots try to sneak in underground through the sewers because, you know, the Decepticons had New York so well guarded that that's the only way they could sneak in was into the sewers. Well, in the first party, Optimus Prime obviously led the first party in, and he was captured. So Megatron delivered Optimus Prime to the to the Constructicons, and told them, do whatever you want with him, give me the head. So basically what they did is they chopped up Optimus Prime, they took them all apart, and then they gave Megatron the head, and then they gave with the rest of the body, they built this robotic alligator to guard the sewers, and then when the rest of the Autobots tried to sneak in through the sewers, the Alligatorcon attacked them. And then later they realized that it was Optimus Prime, and they took him apart and, you know, started putting Optimus back together again. So that's the story. It's a cheesy episode, but it's one of my absolute favorite episodes. It's one of the episodes that I actually remember watching as a kid, and it's a fun episode. Every time I watch it, I absolutely love watching that episode. So, like I said, here in Alligator mode, he's about 10 inches long from head to tail. And there's not a whole lot that he does do here. And I mean, he's got articulation, of course. You can't turn the legs. Some of the joints, like for example, there's a joint right here for the tail, so you wouldn't be able to bring this leg back any further than that. But you can bring him all the way up. These are going to be the arms later in robot mode, his front legs here. So you got a good rotation there at what would be the shoulder, and you got a good rotation at what would be the elbow, and then also at the wrist. So you can actually do some minor posing with him. For example, you see him there with his front leg stretched out to the front, whereas on this side he's got it tucked back. So you can move those around a little bit. And of course, his mouth open and closes. Now, normally there would be a headmaster in here. You could put his original headmaster Grax could sit inside the mouth here and act as a pilot, which is kind of weird because the headmaster would be inside the mouth and how's he going to attack stuff with the pilot right there? It's a little silly, but whatever. Usually, typically, headmasters will fit in here. Unfortunately, JBO1 is a little thick. His shoulders are a little broad, so his shoulders won't fit right here where this canopy would be. His shoulders won't fit in there. So it's unfortunate that I can't get my JBO1 Justice Leader to sit inside the cockpit here, but honestly, it suits me fine because when I display these guys on my shelf, they're displayed like that with Optimus standing right in front of what would be the rest of his body. So it suits me just fine. And what I do is I just take his weapon, because he does come with a gun weapon, and I just keep that in there. So that suits me fine. It occurs to me as I'm talking about this, if you're not familiar with the episode of City of Steel, I guess I do need to clear up that in that episode, he was not a headmaster. The robot did not transform into Optimus Prime, and nor was Optimus Prime a headmaster in that episode. His head was cut off and delivered to Megatron, but that was it. When they put him back together, they just put him back together as regular Optimus Prime. This is kind of taking that idea and going a little further with it. So that's pretty much what this is. So let's get into the transformation. This is a G1 figure, so it's very, very simple. I'm going to take his gun out. And then if you're not familiar with the G1 Grax, the tail here comes off and it becomes a sword. So because this is painted, the joints tend to get a little thick, and there does tend to be a little bit of rub off sometimes, but there you go. There's the tail. And this would become a sword, or kind of a cutting tool later on. So we'll set that guy off to the side. What we're going to do here is the rest of the tail is going to split in half, and these guys are going to just swing out and over, just like that. And the joints are stiff. This is a very old toy. And sadly, that's as far down as they go. They don't do a full 180, which is unfortunate, but hey, G1 toy, what are you going to do? The legs right here, these are going to swing all the way out, and these are individually jointed, which is nice. Later in the G1 run, a lot of the figures had the legs pretty much just shut together. They were one piece shut together like that, and it was hard to even differentiate what would be the left leg from the right leg. It just all looked like one piece. So it's really nice to see that this guy still has individual legs. Even if you can't do anything separate with them, at least they are separate, and that's nice to have. So you're going to go ahead and take him and rotate him all the way around at the waist. You're going to bring his alligator head's going to just hinge all the way down, and that's going to become a backpack. And then you're going to straighten out his arms. And, whoa, like I said, tight joints. Old toy plus paint makes for very tight joints. The alligator claws here, or paws rather, these are going to swing back. And they, again, don't swing 180, but they swing back far enough to let the robot fist show. So we're going to do that on this side. And we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Swing back the alligator paw. I need to play with this guy more because he's getting really, really tight. And there is City Steel Alligatorcon in his robot mode, and obviously he's not complete. He needs a head. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in Junkion Blacksmith, little Optimus Prime here, and we're going to get him into his head mode. So we're going to clip these together and swing them back, make sure the head stays out. And this is something neat because, like I mentioned in my previous video with this guy, whenever you put him into any headmaster, the stats that they have on his chest are always going to be maxed out, and that's the same case. The same goes for this guy right here. So I'm going to bring this guy in and plug him right in, and as you can see, his stats went up. And then you can take the chest, close it up, take the faceplate, open that up. It's, let me back up a little bit here. Let me tell you something. The reason that I have the head plate down like that when I plug it in is because even though this does lock into place, sometimes when you try to put him in, it'll push the head up. So, the literal small robot head, which is actually what plugs into the headmaster. So what I like to do is, if you remember that little tab in there that pushes down to reveal the head, I like to hold that down while I'm plugging the headmaster in. So just to make sure that stays down in there, and then you can open the head plate up. And there is my custom City of Steel Alligatorcon Optimus Prime in robot mode, and I absolutely love this. I was really happy with the fact that I was able to make this custom and make a working headmaster that actually kept the look of Optimus Prime, to be able to paint the alligator mode pretty. I mean, there's some minor differences that I had to do because of the robot mode, but the alligator mode, the paint job on the alligator mode is it's pretty close to what the animation model looked like. And I was really happy that it worked in such a way that when you transform him into robot mode, he keeps that paint job, that classic Optimus Prime look with the red torso, the red arms, the blue fist, and the blue legs. I was able to do the white. I went with the cartoon look, so I gave him the white legs instead of the silver. And then, he's got, obviously he doesn't have a grill or anything like that. He's got the panel on the front. But I think that works out well because it helps to break up the chest. And it's not a solid chest. So, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here or anything like that. I'm just really happy that the design of the figure was such that it lended itself to make a custom like this and actually worked. So I was really happy with that. He does come with some weapons. Oh my God, my tongue just stopped working there, guys. What happened? So he does come with some weapons. Here's the first one. Is and these are all the original accessories that came with Skull Cruncher. The only accessory that he doesn't have is his original Headmaster Grax. Everything else is original Headmaster Skull Cruncher's parts. So this is the gun that that the toy originally came with, and I thought that was a pretty good gun for Optimus Prime. It's not exactly to Optimus Prime's typical gun, but it's pretty close. So as far as the gun went, I just used it as is, and I'm really happy with it. So this guy just plugged right into this fist there. And then the tail here, like I said, this becomes a weapon also. It's like a sword / cutting tool. And this guy can plug in right here. It's got the, you can see the two tabs here that plug into the tail. And then there's a peg right there in the center. And that peg will plug into his fist as well. Just like that. So there you go. There is Custom City of Steel Alligatorcon Optimus Prime. As far as articulation goes, it's the same articulation. You can go all the way around with the shoulders. You've got the turn at the hinge at the elbow, and you've got a hinge at the wrist. No rotation, but it does have a hinge. As you saw, because of transformation, he does have a waist joint, so you can actually turn him at the waist. Not that it's going to accomplish much, really, because you can't do anything else with the legs. Because as far as the legs go, that's it. You got to bend at the knee, but it doesn't accomplish anything because that's for transformation. So this guy, all he's going to do pretty much is stand here and move his arms around, and he can shoot your face off, or he can cut your face off. So, but again, I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. It's just absolutely one of my favorites. And again, it's not because I made it. It's just because, in my opinion, it works so well. It really did turn out. You got a good, faithful representation of the cartoon model for the Alligatorcon that actually transforms into a robot that looks like Optimus Prime. And just the design lends itself for it. The idea coming from TJ was absolutely fantastic, and all I did was the execution, guys. But I'm really happy with the way this came out. And there's rumors. I know that Fans Project has mentioned on several occasions that they want to, because they started making some Headmaster figures themselves, and they have made mention of making a Skull Cruncher and then customizing that into a Headmaster Optimus Prime. So it's an awesome idea that a lot of people seem to like, and I'd love to see somebody as good as Fans Project take on a custom like that, because let me tell you, I'll be the first pre-order if and when they announce that. I will be the first pre-order. I've had a lot of people ask me, "Aren't you pissed off?" No, why would I be? It's bring the more creativity that comes along from these ideas, the better. So bring on the creativity, and I'll be first in line to buy one, because I can't wait to see what that figure would look like, and I can't wait to review it if it actually happens. But in the meantime, I have this guy here that I made, and I'm really, really happy with it. Just a little quick once around, just so you can see how the head looks. It makes a backpack, as a lot of Headmasters did, but it's not terrible. And there you go. There is City of Steel Alligatorcon Optimus Prime. And I think I've gushed enough on this for now. So I think that pretty much covers my custom City of Steel Alligatorcon Optimus Prime. Please give me some comments, leave me some thumbs up, subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.